training contracts on average, 75% of them are awarded to Russell Group university students. So Leeds, I think is ranked second in terms of the quality of research, and it's got a very good criminology department. So what you need to do is make an informed decision, and the way to do so is to speak to people and to attend different events organized by law firms. And
recording. And firstly, thank you very much, Georgie, for coming into my podcast.
it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So would you like to start by giving a brief introduction about yourself?
Yes, so good day, everyone. My name is Georgi Minchev. I'm a penultimate year law student on the 3-year LLB program at the University of Leeds. I'm originally from Bulgaria, and I aspire to enter the legal world as a solicitor, hopefully in a large, well-established international law firm.
Wow. So you're from Bulgaria. So did you came here for your undergrad degree, or like did you came here for your like started at GCC or?
So I came. Before I actually sort of moved to the UK for permanent studies, I'd been to the country on a few occasions for summer schools. I really enjoyed that, and it was in 2019 I transferred to the biggest state boarding school, Wyndham College, on an academic scholarship. I won as one of 8 Bulgarian scholarship recipients. So I've been in the UK as of the time of recording this interview for just over 3.5 years.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. Um, would you like to tell us about your experience as a law student? Like, what motivated you to pursue this route, especially?
So there's 2 ways to answer that. So law from an academic sort of perspective, and law as a career choice. Like I just mentioned, I previously done a few summer schools. One of them was in Oxford with the Oxford Royal Academy. That was back in 2018, and that was a 3-week introduction to law course. At the time, I was aged 15, and everybody else on the course was 18 or above, preparing to go into university. So in a way, the course was slightly out of my league, and I initially, found it very difficult. However, towards the end of the course, I had some amazing experiences. I got to observe trials in the Royal Courts of Justice, as well as participate in a mock trial. And the absolute icing on the cake was that I received the prize for being the most improved student, and that really sort of really gave me that initial motivation and sort of spark to pursue law as an academic discipline later down the course of my life. And when I transferred to Wyndham College, I did A levels. I did 3 A levels in law, history, and English literature, as well as I also did an extended project qualification, which is sort of is given half of the marks a normal A level subject would. Anyway, going back to the topic of law. So A level law, I had a truly amazing teacher. So if she happens to be watching, I hope you're doing well. And there we did criminal law, did a bit of tort law, contract law as well, and I quite enjoyed these sort of subjects within the general discipline of law, and because these are what were 3 of the 7 foundational subjects that are taught within every law course. I had a good start when I went to university. And then obviously at university, I've been here for just over 1.5 years. So I've got to explore law even more in depth. And then going down the other sort of path of my response, which was law as a career. When I went to Wyndham College, it was only 3 weeks after I'd started studying there that I got selected by my college to go to a law academy organized by one of the bigger local law firms called Rogers and Norton Solicitors. They're a firm. So basically, Wyndham College. I probably should have mentioned prior to that it's based in County Norfolk, which is in the east of England, and Rogers and Norton Solicitors is a law firm which has an office in Norwich and in Attleborough. Norwich is pretty much the biggest city in the county, and that's where I went to that academy. Obviously got cancelled because of the coronavirus pandemic, which was very unfortunate, as I really enjoyed it. And then during my time at Wyndham College, I founded a law society, sixth form law society, and received some great backing by my law teacher and by the head teacher as well. And that's really sort of it gave me really good insight into law at that time, given the fact that I still hadn't graduated. And when now moving on a year sort of later, I began acquiring a lot of work experience in different law firms. So I've interned in firms in London, Leeds, and Newcastle in the UK, and then in Sofia, which is my hometown in Bulgaria. And I've done I've been part of programs of different length and in firms with the sort of different specialisms, and I've had a broad insight into what a career in law looks like, and you sort of get to exclude the services that you're probably not interested in entering. Let's say I wasn't a particularly big fan of real estate, but I found the commercial services really interesting, and that's sort of all these insights really solidified my aspirations of becoming a solicitor.
So as per your journey towards choosing law, I can see you started it from very young age, and that's what motivated you towards this route, right? So I just wanted to know why did you choose University of Leeds as your university? Did you apply to any other but why did you choose to come here?
So with Leeds, the first thing is it's one of the Russell Group universities. From a career perspective, if my statistic is on mislead me, I think training contracts for so basically, just to clarify for our viewers, training contracts are 2-year programs where you get to do 4 departmental rotations in a law firm, and that's the most straightforward way to get the necessary qualifying work experience to become a solicitor. So training contracts, on average, 75% of them are awarded to Russell Group university students. So I want to have a degree of prestige on my CV in terms of my academic background. Also, the University of Leeds at the time had actually gone up the rankings. So the complete university guide is one of the more well-known provider of ranking tables for all the academic disciplines that are out there. And Leeds at the time had gone up, if I recall correctly, by a couple of places, and then the year after it went up by another 4 places. And then after that there was a further jump in the rankings. Now it's in the top 10. Leeds, so Leeds, I think is ranked second in terms of the quality of research, and it's got a very good criminology department. I'm not interested in criminology, but just for our viewers to be aware of, I think Leeds is I think it was in the top 4 for criminology. And I think that Leeds, they gave me a good offer as well. So at the time, the standard offer was AAA, so AAA at A levels. But because I did an EPQ, they reduced, and I got an A star on my EPQ. I got A stars, which are basically the highest grades you could get in your A level subjects, and that brought my offer down to an AAB. So it was a very good offer in my opinion. now that offers that this, the requirements, the entry requirements, they've actually gone up to A, and then an A star. So that's actually pretty much comparable with let's say the universities down in London. So
It's getting much more competitive. Yeah.
yeah, certainly. When I was applying, there were, but basically when I was applying, there was an influx of students really, and it was really competitive. So what happened was they offered a lot of people to defer, and they offered quite generous amounts in university fees and in accommodation fees. I personally didn't take this option because I just thought I wanted to get straight into it, but I think Leeds did that for 2 successive years. We'll see whether it does it this year, which it actually got a national press coverage for that on the BBC. So I think it's a generous university. I think there are great opportunities, and now that I've been part of the university community, I've also gone and explored the variety of opportunities. Let's say we've got a very well established pro bono practice. So just to clarify for our viewers, pro bono, that's a Latin term used to describe pretty much legal work carried out in the benefit of the community, free of charge. And Leeds has some great pro bono projects on welfare benefits, which I was part of, migrant support. They're part of street law. And aside from pro bono, their research assistant opportunities. We've got a great law society, an award-winning law society led by students. So a lot of sort of in the UK, there's you would sense a divide between the north and the south. I think it's quite commonly recognized, having spoken to a good number of people. But I think Leeds definitely can rival any university, and I'm excited to see how our uni will get ranked this year. Hopefully, we'll continue with the upward curve.
Yeah, obviously we will do that. I just wanted to know more about your choosing University of Leeds, because as you mentioned that you want to be an aspire solicitor, right? So it takes around 2 years to complete your professional degree. So there's also opportunities going on around like by the firms especially, and they give out like apprenticeships. So like 6 years program and other different type of programs. So how is that different, and how University of Leeds is better than that?
So I've had an insight into apprenticeships for the sole reason that during year 13, I applied to quite a good number of them. I didn't get an apprenticeship. I was very close to getting one, actually. So just to clarify, so if you want to qualify as a solicitor, there are a few ways, but let's take the university route and the apprenticeship. So to qualify as a solicitor, you need A levels or an equivalent qualification. So your A levels are 2 years, but obviously because that's the final stage of your secondary education, in reality, it's a good, your standard 12-year study or 13-year study rather.
Yeah. So
and then your law degree. Now, there are a few things we have to mention here. So you can have a standard law degree of 3 years. So that would be your bachelor's program, which pretty much really all universities offer. Then you can have a law degree that's longer than that. For example, 4 years. You can do a year abroad. So the university has partnerships with European universities, let's say in Spain, I think Denmark, the Netherlands, France, etc. And the USA as well. And you can go, I think it's during your 3rd year, you can go there, study, the legal system of the country you've chosen, and come back and finish your 4th year in Leeds. And or you can have a 4-year degree with a placement year. So I think it's your 3rd year. During your 3rd year, you'll have to go and find yourself a placement, a work placement. So that can be a legal one or a non-legal one. And let's say we've got law problems with languages. Let's say law with Spanish, law with French, etc. And this, I think it's you get to do a year abroad during if you're a part of one of these programs. Essentially, you get to study another legal system and you get to practice your language. So you get the best of both worlds in a way.
Yeah.
And another type of degree to mention is the graduate program. So the graduate program is 2 years, and it's really available to those people who've already done a bachelor's degree. A lot of the people that are on that program come from the USA and Canada because their law, as far as I'm aware, is a graduate degree. That means that they would have done
Graduate degree.
a certain academic speciality in whatever discipline they've got, and then they go and get a law degree in a shorter space of time. They get a lot of the people in that program are actually in my class for the very simple reason they study the same 7 core modules, which are required if you want to sort of qualify as a solicitor. And then I think they get 2 electives, so 2 optional modules. I also get optional modules so during my first year I did 4 compulsory modules, which were criminal law, contract law, foundations of law, and constitutional and administrative law. And then in my second year, so this year, during the first semester I did EU law, so law and society, researching law, and land law. And then for this semester I've taught is the compulsory module I have to do, but I've chosen to do company law and international law. And then for next year I'll also be able to choose electives, have I think it's 1 compulsory module, and do a dissertation. And after contingent on you completing your degree successfully, so you would need a 2-1 as your qualification. Just to clarify, I know different countries rank pretty much award qualifications on a different sort of merit. Let's say in Bulgaria, the maximum score you can get is a 6, but that would equal a first class degree. So a 2-1, so 2.1, or as we call it, a 2-1, that's pretty much very good, very high pass. And that's what you need as a minimum really to enter the legal world. And after that, you have to do if you're a non-law graduate, so if you've studied a bachelor's degree in a non-legal subject, you don't have to do a graduate law degree, let's say a 2-year graduate law degree. Some countries require that, but not in the UK. You can go and convert. You'll have to do the 1-year graduate diploma in law conversion course, and then you'll have to do the solicitor's qualifying examination. So the solicitor's qualifying examination is also a mandatory aspect of the qualification process for people with a law background as me. The difference is I just won't have to do the graduate diploma in law because I don't need to convert. And the SQE, just to clarify, was relatively recently introduced. It sort of is quite a novel thing within the qualification process. I'm not going to delve too much into that because I think we can talk for quite a good amount of time. But yeah, after you do the SQE, you have to pass it, and law firms would usually sponsor your SQE preparation courses and exams. Then you do your training contract, and then you qualify. Just the final thing about qualification, we've spoken a lot about it. With the SQE, because I call it a novel approach within the qualification process, and it's a novel approach because it removed the requirement to necessarily get a training contract. The training contract is the most straightforward way, so that's why it's going to continue existing. But with the SQE, as long as you have 2 years of legal work experience, you can paralegal, you could work in a law center, in a pro bono clinic, etc. As long as it's legal work experience of 2 years, it can be recognized. And that's pretty much how you get into law through if you've got a primarily academic background. If you go down the apprenticeship route, it's a bit different. In a way, it's a bit more structured. So apprenticeships are 6-year programs. That's if you do a solicitor apprenticeship. If you do a paralegal apprenticeship, I think it's 2 years, and then you end up qualifying as a paralegal. So with the solicitor apprenticeship, as you would do with a training contract, you apply to a law firm, and you basically they board you on for 6 straight years.
Yeah.
You study and work at the same time, which is not an easy
Yeah.
task to balance. So basically, and I know I'm not an apprentice, obviously, but I've definitely researched them really well. I did so when I was in year 13, and you study for 1 day
Yeah.
at university,
Uh,
the chosen by the law firm,
mhm.
which usually BBP University and the University of Law.
Yeah.
And then for the other 4 days of the week, you basically work within the law
Oh.
firm, and there are different departmental rotations within your 6 years. Let's say the first 4 years, you can do annual rotations, and then the final 2 years of the apprenticeship, you would usually rotate across 4 departments of 6 months, as with the training contract. So it's certainly not an easy task,
Yeah.
and it's a really big commitment. I have a friend who went down that way, and you know, I can see he's quite busy. You know, you have to realize if you go down the apprenticeship route, that's a proper job.
Yeah.
And you're working for a law firm, you're helping them bill, and it certainly is a very big commitment. Some apprenticeships are available to everyone. Others are available only to recent school leavers,
Yeah.
so people, let's say, in year 13. And just I have to mention that with these solicitor apprenticeships, you study non-stop for these 6 years, which is
Oh, okay.
a big thing. So
Yeah.
52 weeks in the year you would study, regardless of whether you take holiday or not, you'll have to. So it's a big
Yeah.
commitment. But you get a salary. You don't get
Yeah.
university expenses,
Yeah.
and that salary progressively increases. And just finally touching on the apprenticeships, I think it's really important to mention that recently the so-called graduate solicitor apprenticeships have been introduced. So they're offered by very few providers. I think in Leeds, I think there's a national law firm called Waitmans or Whitemans. So they offer that, and I think the BBC is a graduate solicitor apprenticeship provider, and you can work in the BBC's legal in-house team. And that program's 3 years in length, and you'll have to do your solicitor's qualifying examination within those 3 years. So again, you sort of study part-time and work for really the majority of your time for 3 years. You get a salary that increases progressively, and sort of it's analogous to the solicitor apprenticeship, and then you qualify. And that's
Yeah.
really the methods of qualification that sort of spring up to my mind at the minute.
Yeah. Thank you very much for clarifying this, all the levels, firstly. And I guess this is a very descriptive structure that you mentioned. And I guess it's all about the students and what choices they want to make about their life, and how this can help making sure that they are going to the right path. So every route that they're going, they have different advantages and disadvantages. So it all depends on the requirements that they have. So that's,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you need to do is make an informed decision, and the way to do so is to speak to people and to attend different events organized by law firms,
Yeah.
and inquire and be proactive. I probably was able to tell you quite a bit, because that's exactly what I've done.
Yeah.
It's I think you sort of have to start thinking from it, not in the last minute, really. Let's say with me, I don't want it to sound like it's a cliche, but from a young age, I knew I wasn't going to go into natural sciences. I got excellent grades in these subjects, so sort of biology, physics, chemistry, etc. That's cool. But it was that they were tough. They didn't necessarily spark my interest as did some of the sort of social humanitarian disciplines, such as history or law or politics, etc. And I knew I would go down a career path that would require an academic background in a social sort of science discipline. So I chose law. My mum from a young age has sort of always motivated me to participate in essay competitions, etc. I like the sort of the fact that law really is sort of that the argumentative, structured, critical thinking is really the backbone of this profession, and
true.
I've, with all my having acquired work experience, having attended quite a big chunk of events, I've definitely been affirmed in this initial observation of mine.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one.